What's going on, Dolph fans? It is your boy Dillon, and I'm here to do my thoughts on this game, the Vegas game, the Raiders game. Obviously, Dolphins getting the win. We are now 7-3. And I'm just gonna make this quick. Listen, so it wasn't obviously as dominant as we all would have hoped and expected. And again, we see a situation in which the Dolphins kind of shot themselves in the foot a little bit. Now, it wasn't a lot. Like, I have to be honest with you, when it comes to the two early fumbles, and that was one of the big reasons why the Dolphins or the Raiders were still in this game, throughout, right? Now, they only got 6 points off of those two fumbles. However, they got 6 points off it, right? They weren't touchdowns, so good on the defense. And the defense, man, balled. Ramsey got a couple interceptions. Jalen Phillips got an interception, so there were 3 total. I think they got a couple sacks on the day, but they were damn good. They did let up the 1 touchdown to Devontae Adams, but honestly, again, even in that situation, and I did a live stream, and I said during the live stream, I think that they might have at least been able to have a play on the ball, but Deshaun Elliott tripped himself up when he was, in coverage. He was, right in his hip. He could have made a play on the ball potentially, and, maybe they wouldn't have gotten that score. The game obviously ends 20-13. Look, also let's give some credit though to the Raiders. They came in looking to play, and they did force those 2 early fumbles. And that's why, like, when it comes to those, I can't necessarily say that those were mistakes on it was Tua and then Julian Hill. Because in both cases, they did try to protect the ball, and in both cases, it was a punch out. In Tua's case, he was scrambling for the first down, had to, get out of the pocket, and he didn't slide, which I get. I mean, generally you want your quarterback to slide, especially Tua, right? And I get all that. But in that case, if he did slide, he likely wouldn't have picked up the first down. I think it was a 3rd and 3, and he did pick it up, but the ball got punched out, and, he was close to being down by contact, but it was just barely. So good on the defense, right? Like, there's not much more that him or Julian Hill could have done in those cases. They did try to protect the football. The defense, they just had their moments. And I think they had like 1 sack of Tua today. They had 1 that got called back by a defensive penalty, but I think they did end up having 1. Maybe, maybe not. I don't remember. We definitely do need to get Robert Hunt back though too. Not having Robert Hunt there is pretty huge still. I mean, the line played admirably overall, but, they still definitely got to get better there. And having Robert Hunt back will be huge. Couple quick things. There was the injuries. Hill with his hand, but he looked to be fine. He did end up coming back into the game, and at the end of the day, he ended up having 146 yards, so that definitely keeps him on pace for his 2,000-yard mark. And they did tape up his hand, but he looked fine. He did come back in. Achane ended up out of the game with a knee injury. He did not come back into the game at any point, but he seemed to be fine. He seemed to be fine. And it looks like it may have just been a scare. Hopefully that's all it is, because we definitely will want to have him back, especially for the long haul. But it looked like at moments that Achane was looking for, an opportunity to come back in. It looked like there might have been moments where he was trying to get, back in the game, but I think McDaniel, and probably rightfully so, kept him out for his own sake, because we definitely are going to need him to stay healthy. But Mostert did some good running. I mean, they ran the ball overall pretty decent. The offense has definitely got some things to clean up, and, again, credit to the Raiders for coming in here and playing tough. Look, I think that they absolutely do have a new energy under their interim head coach, and they kept us to our lowest point total of the season at home. So, credit to them. Now, again, some of that was on us. The interception that Tua threw was definitely on him. It was an overthrow to Waddle, so that's on him. But the 2 fumbles, I don't think were so much on Hill and Tua. I think that was just good plays by the defense. But overall, the defense absolutely stepped up, and that's the biggest encouragement, because I do think that the offense can get Robert Hunt back and Achane back again, and hopefully then he can stay healthy for the rest of the season. We do play on a short week, so that will be interesting to see what happens, because we do have to go play the Jets on Black Friday on Friday. Now listen, They got to clean up those mistakes for sure, though. Even though I won't necessarily blame Tua or Julian Hill for those fumbles, they do still got to make sure that doesn't happen because look, I don't, next week is another week where I worry about the Jets offense far less than I worry about the Raiders offense, if I'm being completely honest with you. And so, I'm not, especially with our defense, because that is definitely a bright spot and an encouragement of this game, like I was saying. I think our defense is going to show up and show out. But the offense definitely has to pick it up, and they definitely have to do better. But they still did, overall pretty well. I mean, they had over 300. What was the let's see, stats. What was the team yardage? Team yardage. I don't know. We had over, Tua was over 300. Well, we had over 400 yards of offense because Tua had 325. They sacked Tua once. He had over 100 quarterback rating. He was 28 of 39, 325 yards, 11.6 average, which is good. 2 touchdowns with the 1 interception. Mostert was 22 rushes for 86 yards with a 3.9 average. Not great on the average, but at least they did stick with it, though, and they kept it pumping. But obviously that puts us over, and then you have, Ahmed was 6 yards, Tua was 6 yards, Achane only had 1 rushing yard, and then you had Hill for, he did his 146, but that's part of the 325. But anyway, so, we did end up having 400 yards of offense, so solid. They definitely got to clean some things up and make sure they avoid turning the ball over. I mean, even though it's a fucking crazy stat, we are now 5-1 despite having a negative turnover differential. And I'm pretty sure, although I don't know, actually, you know what? We may not have been negative. Hang on. Let me see if I can find out that as I talk. But I was going to say we're 5-1, but that actually may not be the case because it is possible that, because the Dolphins ended up getting 3 interceptions. Oh my God, stop. The Dolphins did end up getting 3 interceptions. Stop. I don't want to fucking hear none of that, man. Anyway, yeah. So Dolphins get 3 interceptions and whatever at the end of the day. So they may not have ended the game in a negative. But what I was gonna, through most of this game, they ended up being, we were so in this season 4-1, potentially 5-1 after this game, even though having a negative, which is outrageous. They got to clean that up though, and they do got to balance that out, and hopefully by the end of the season though, they can turn that around and make it positive, because when you do play better teams down the road, you're not going to get wins, and when you play bad teams, that's what's going to keep them in it. So anyway, and the other thing I want to say, Jason Sanders missed one from 51, but then missed one from 50, but then he missed one, but then he did make one from 51. Next season, we definitely got to get a new kicker and a new punter. For sure. Honestly, I would even say go ahead and fucking draft one in the mid to late rounds. Not both. Maybe if you want to pick one up as a unrestricted free agent, but you're definitely going to need your picks next year, especially because I don't think we have a ton. But if you did decide to take a punter or a kicker in the mid to late rounds, I wouldn't hate that, because that's something we definitely need to fix as well, because another part of the reason why the Raiders were in this game throughout is because they kept getting amazing field position. Now, they didn't really take advantage of it, and our defense played amazing, but we can't let teams hang in like that, especially the bad teams. But anyway, at the end of the day, and you could also say that maybe they were a little rusty coming out of the bye, the offense in particular. At the end of the day, they get their motherfucking win. That's all that fucking matters. and we are now 7-3, and we keep pace. They can fix things going forward. They can get guys healthy. Particularly, we definitely need Robert Hunt, because I think that will help things overall down the stretch. But we do got a tough game next week. Look, it is going to be a tough game. It's a division battle. It's in New York against the Jets. I'm getting ready to watch the Bills-Jets game now, so we'll see how that turns out. I personally want the Bills just to go ahead and fucking knock the Jets basically out of the conversation by getting the win. Because next week, I'm pretty sure the Bills are going to lose to the Eagles. And then the week after they come out of their bye, I'm pretty sure they're going to lose to the Chiefs, which I think is in Arrowhead. So I'm not super worried about the Bills coming back, although we got to continue to take care of business. The next 2 weeks are on the road against the Jets, who have a good defense. Not at all worried about their offense. Excuse me. But yeah, so let's enjoy this win. We got it for 24 hours. Then we need to rinse it. It doesn't matter how we got it. I know people, will probably say some shit. But look, they played a solid game. They made some plays. Dolphins took care of business at the end of the day. That's what matters. We're 7-3, still atop the division, and still in prime position to do everything that we want to do down the stretch. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get the mother F up out of here. Fins up, baby. Let's keep this train rolling, and let's take that shit and this momentum into next week and into New York, baby, and get the win over the Jets next week. Fins up.
7-7. Miami wins it.